Doomsday 3.
We're in Doomsday 1.
No question in my mind.
He came from one of the toughest areas of Phoenix. Most of his friends,
You got people on the TV talking about it. You better get your ass to the ball. You better get to the ball.
I just got to say, when it comes to Dallas Cowboys, well,
Different.
For sure, and they would have thrown it off because
This guy gets on you.
And then I go to bed every night like, G, man, I promise you that. What is up, Cowboys Nation and nations around the world?
That's
Falcon.
right.
Are you guys Falcon Nation? I don't know what you guys are. Are you Falcon Nation?
Everybody's something nation. And yes, we are.
I always hear from the
Falcon Nation.
Raiders that we stole. It's Raider Nation's the only nation. It's like, man, there's like everyone's a nation. So I don't know. We got that. Yeah, they stole it from the nation of domination. You know
That's right.
I don't want to hear any of that crap. But hey, good evening. It's a Tuesday edition of the show. Jimmy had very important functions. Very important functions. So important that he said, "Hey, Mike, we got to reschedule." So of course, I'm going to accommodate because you got to accommodate Jimmy D. So hopefully you guys had a good weekend. Draft, maybe you guys getting stuff digested. We got a lot to talk about maybe with the draft. Jimmy's team seemed to be the lightning rod of the first round, so definitely want to get his opinion on that. But before we get rolling, make sure if you guys are hopping in, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, share, a little support, be sympathetic to the cause. If you guys are strolling and watching us on Instagram or Twitter, Instagram, we can't see your comments, so you got to, slide on over to YouTube, and that way you can be part of the show because we definitely want you guys to be part of it. Otherwise, you could watch us, you could hear us, but we can't see any of your comments. So we definitely, I got some haters on there, which I'm going to get into. But Jimmy, first of all, how was your weekend?
It was a great weekend, and Bugsy, I appreciate the love. I appreciate your concession speech to me, and I'm still shocked Ovechkin had a goose egg. No assists, no goals. I'm very surprised at that. I'm very happy. We got a few days rest before we move on. And we'll as a matter of fact, when Mark comes on, I got to talk to him for a minute. What do we got here? I'm sorry, I'm just throwing things. I know we're going to get to this in a minute.
Yeah. That's
right?
all about the Penix pick, which we're definitely gonna we're gonna figure this out. What's up with Mark? What do you got to talk about with Mark?
Well, we might have a little hat bet going.
Oh, because they're disposing of my heat. Is that what you're talking about? We might have a little friendly wager.
No, he's talking. Well, let's see if he jumps in. Yeah, little actually hockey friendly wager. So we'll see if he jumps in. Yeah, exactly. Ultra.
Who are you guys playing next round?
Well, we're gonna play the winner of Carolina or the Icelanders, and his team is Carolina.
It is. Oh yeah, he's from North Carolina. That's right.
Yeah. So
okay.
So hopefully that happens. I look forward to beating up on them some more. And Ultra, and I'm sorry I'm jumping all over, but they're throwing things out at me here. Boone is still trash. We can agree on that, right? We're winning despite him. Right now we're down 1-0 to the Orioles, a team that we're tied with currently. But Boone again. We're winning despite Aaron Boone right now.
Wow, that's
And getting to your point, the question you asked me 2 minutes ago, I had a really nice weekend, a lot of family time, a lot of playoffs, and it was a good weekend.
No, it's good. It's good. We want to get into the draft, but can I give you a little recap of the weekend and kind of what was going on and everything like that? How's that, Jimmy?
Absolutely.
I got a story to tell you guys, and I got a story to tell my man Jimmy. We hadn't talked, and I said I'm going to save it. So had a great time. Did some Thursday night was tremendous. Eugene Lockhart back in the cave. You missed it. You left too soon. I mean, he was in rare form, as only Eugene is. And then obviously you got to hang a little bit with JT Teague from Teague's Take. So thank them again. And then all the people, Steven was hanging out with us for a while. Mark jumped in, I think, early on. My memories, everything's fading in, but I think Mark jumped in as well. So many good things happened Thursday night, Friday, and then Saturday. I was on a couple podcasts. We did Cowboys Can Fan, which I got to get these guys on the show. They're a ton of fun, and hopefully we get to hang out at a Cowboys game this year. And then UK Cowboys. So I went international on Saturday. We go international.
Yeah.
But Cowboys Can Fan, one of their favorite clips, and they've done it the last couple of years. It gets a lot of run. When I was on their show a few years ago, they asked me about Philadelphia, and I gave the story, true story, about when I took my son to the draft in Philadelphia. It was that draft. Unfortunately, we took tacos, so maybe I was a jinx. I hadn't been back to a draft since. But it was the story of he was wearing his Des Bryant jersey, and people are telling him to F off and F you and this, 12-year-old kid while we're walking down the street, real tough guys.
No class.
And so it's a funny story. I didn't mean it for him to clip it up, but they did. So it has its run. So I was, I'd been on Instagram in a little bit. So I said, let me see how that's going. I saw a couple comments, and as usual, there was a lot of fun stuff with Cowboys fans, but then you got a few. And one guy commented, he said, F me and my son. He told me again. And so I replied back and said, case closed. And then one guy said, we don't want you in our city, F off or something like that. So I told him I wouldn't go to that shithole if you paid me. So, and Jimmy, you live close to that, and I don't even think you'd go there have you ever been to that dump?
I've been there for some of my kids' sporting activities. So yes, I've been there, and it is a dump. And you know what? It's no wonder they moved the Rocky statue, their one and only icon. They moved it off of the library, wherever the hell it is, down the street.
I probably had to put it somewhere safe because people were going to deface it or do something, try to steal it or do something. God only knows. God only knows. Did you ever see the videos of you walk through that city and half the people are drugged and cracked out?
Oh, no, I'm telling you, man, you don't get lost in Philadelphia, man. They got good cheesesteak. I'll give them that. I go down to Pat's and Geno's, but yeah, it's scary.
There's fine people in Philadelphia. Some of my best friends are Philadelphians. But you got that select few that want to attack me personally. You understand, Jimmy? Personally attack me when I didn't attack them. So I got to be allowed to retort. That's the one beauty of when you have a platform that you can speak your mind. I got the microphone and they don't, so they'll listen to every word I got. But no, it was a lot of fun. But hey, one incident, it didn't ruin the draft thing. We had a tremendous time. We had a great time. 90% of the people were awesome. But it's just like in the comments, you get just a couple idiots here and there that always like to say something. So that's what I did. You, on the other hand, you made it through the Penix pick and then you bounced, because I'm trying to remember.
No, yeah. So anyway, first of all, never mind those filthy fans. That even though they used threaten you with violence and use profanities, you know what? We'll take care of them tonight. My Knicks are going to take care of their business, close things out in Philadelphia tonight. The 76ers will be gone. We'll be on the next round. That's right. Put them out. So now, and I'm glad I left at around quarter after. I was about an hour and 15, and I left just before Teague. I jumped off. Teague jumped on. So that was about the time. So now I'm going to go back because we're going to go in a little bit of order here. Ultra people complaining about the Penix pick. Remember this, Cousins can be used to draft capital next year. You'll have a good quarterback and a good rookie deal. Now I have Falcon. Did I miss Jimmy's rage about the Penix pick? Now, we sat here last week, and then here's the best part about it. Nobody on here said anything. It said, oh, man, what a terrible pick. That's awful. Blah. Nobody in the comments, nobody on the screen, nobody, right? But then what do? You listen to all the propaganda, all the false lies and propaganda by all these talking heads on the TVs, and all of a sudden, you're regurgitating everything they say. I don't want to hear it. I said the last Monday I'd be happy with that pick if we got him. I was okay with it.
You took him in the second round in our mock draft. I thought you took Penix.
Yes, in our mock draft. But the thing is, you know what? They took him at 8. There was a run on quarterbacks. There was a run on a lot of offensive players in the first round they didn't expect. And guess what? I said, what did I say? I want Penix. See, Ultra's talking about him being used as draft capital or using Cousins as draft capital next year. I'm looking at it is what Green Bay did, man. They always had that quarterback succession. You got Kirk Cousins training the new guy. And if Kirk Cousins goes down, he has the ankle injury. Guess what? We got a competent quarterback. We don't have Desmond Ridder or Taylor Heineke. That's what I don't want. So, everybody all of a sudden jumped on the bandwagon with the talking heads and listened to all these, imbeciles and stuff. So I'm happy with the pick. And I said it last week, and I even had it written down on that paper that I showed on camera.
No, you had my question. I don't have an issue with the pick. I think for the Falcons, it's not a bad move. I guess what I would say is, could they have traded down a little bit and maybe still got him? Now that's a risky move, risky proposition, but taking them an 8 when I was one to admit I think the Falcons are going to win the South. I think they're going to be in the playoffs, and all you can ask is for an opportunity in the playoffs. I mean, that's been proven by many a team that you just need an opportunity. Unfortunately, we get our opportunity, we blow it. But these other teams take advantage of it, and I think that's all you could ask for. So the only way I could say it is maybe they just a guy in the top 10. No, it didn't blow their socks off. It wasn't like this is a guy we got to have, we got to get. And so they went ahead and took their guy. And I don't have a big issue with it. I don't have an issue that Kirk Cousins might have his feelings hurt. This is a competition. That's right. This is where I say some of the problem with the Cowboys. This is where I say some of the problem with the Cowboys. Competition makes everybody better. They never brought in competition with Dak. They never brought in competition with other players on the team of elite positions or guys. I think competition makes you better. So I think it's a great thing. And Kirk Cousins should be motivated by that. That should fuel his fire even more. And I think they'll both be better for it.
And you know what? So Falcon, that's the whole point. I don't care that he's not helping him now. I want him to be an understudy for Cousins. And to Tag's point, we've talked about this a whole bunch of times, talking about the Cowboys, where you want it to be a competition. Guys go in there thinking that, they're automatically getting, obviously we paid him the money as a starting quarterback. But at the end of the day, I want him motivated. And you know what it was? They were pissed that his camp was pissed that they didn't get a call before the pick. It wasn't the pick happened, but I guess it happened all of a sudden. He was number 8. He was available. What's that?
Does he run the team or is he a player?
He's a player. That's right. And so, you know what? Him and Penix had a really good talk. They didn't disclose the details, but it sounded like they were playing nice with each other. And Kirk Cousins said, I'm here to help you out and vice versa. And that's all you need. That's what I want.
You remember what Mike Ditka said when he was yelling at, I think, Jim Harbaugh when he was with the Bears, and in the news media said, "Hey, were you a little too hard on him? In the middle of the game." He goes, "Oh, you can't hurt the quarterback's feelings." I thought it hurt his feelings. I mean, they're a player on the roster just like everybody else. Spare me that crap. I think it was a good pick for the Falcons. I would have liked to maybe see him trade down and see if they can gather any other capital. That would have been but if they wanted their guys, like your GM said, I'll give him credit. He said, when you got your guy and that's the guy you want, you don't F around with it. You're just going to get him. And that's what they did.
I trust Terry Fontenot. I just look at the draft the last few years. He's done great. And, not for nothing, we have offensive weapons. I did say we need an edge. And guess what? The next 5 picks, we're all edge rushers, right? All defense. So we got what we needed, and I'm cool with it. But again, all this crap in the media, I'm shocked. Usually it's Dallas getting this kind of heat. We're the ones absorbing it this time.
Yeah, we're getting our share. But, hey, I want to ask you guys in the chat, definitely in the chat, want to get you guys' opinion on this is, who's in the best situation? Talking about our quarterbacks. And this was the first time, 6 quarterbacks, I believe, in 12 picks, right? Wasn't it 6 and 12? 50% of the first 12 picks were all quarterbacks. We said 6 quarterbacks could go in the first round. And I'm surprised that they went where they went as far as all 6 of them gone by the 12th pick. Who do you think is in the best situation? J.J. McCarthy. I see Bugsy talking J.J. McCarthy. Yeah. Caleb Williams. I mean, they went ahead and got a receiver on top of it. I mean, they picked up more. But it's Chicago. That's where always go back to Chicago. So, I mean, what do you think, Jimmy, as far as the 6 quarterbacks? And definitely keep bringing it in the chat. We'd love to hear your opinion. What do you think?
Well, I mean, everybody thinks that they have CJ Stroud. That's the thing, right? Everybody doesn't have that. Now, if you look at what teams have tried to do the most, you got to say Chicago. They've tried to surround this guy with weapons. But again, it is Chicago, and something always seems to go wrong for them. right? Although Justin Field, they won like 6 out of their last 7 games last year.
No,
Chicago,
they finished strong.
right? They did finish strong, but new quarterback, rookie quarterback. If I had to say anything, it would probably be Chicago.
Yeah. Hey, help me out. I'm having a brain fart. Who is the Minnesota quarterback? Obviously,
well, they signed. They had signed what's his name from Arizona that played. Somebody help us out.
Yeah, because someone said that neither expected to step in now. I'm almost thinking that JJ would, unless who did they sign? Who did they get? Who did they get?
Sam Darnold. That's what it was.
Thank you, Maya. There, Mikey Schefter's always
exactly.
Okay, so appreciate that. I think McCarthy's better than Sam Darnold. I think he's going to be the starter. How's that? And I would say situationally, I think McCarthy's in a nice situation because of the weapons they have. Right? I mean, they got some weapons at receiver. Got the tight end. So I think that's a good situation. I think Caleb Williams is in an interesting situation. It sounds great, but it's Chicago. I think Penix is in a pretty good situation with Atlanta because he's not going to see the field. He's going to have an opportunity to kind of rest. Washington, with Daniels, I think that's going to be a problem. I think I don't think that's a great situation for him. The interesting one too is Drake May in New England. I don't. A buddy I work with he already said that they're going to win the Super Bowl. So they're winning the Super Bowl with Drake May. He's high on him. I'm not as high, even though he destroyed my Canes a couple times. I think that's a tricky situation. The one that I think is interesting long term is Knicks going to Denver. And the reason I say that, there's a lot of similarities with Drew Brees. Now, Knicks is more athletic and things like that, but there's some similarities there. So that's going to be an interesting one years down the road. But I'd probably say the best situation, I would agree with a lot of the chat and say I think JJ.
Yeah. Well, the only thing though, talking about Minnesota, Jefferson's been on social media quite a bit, running his mouth. So I don't know what's going on with that.
Someone might have to close it for him.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, I was looking for the name Josh Dobbs, but he's now in San Francisco. Okay, so Falcons, straighten me out on that one.
No, Larry, what's up, man? I love some Cowboy fans hanging out in the cave. You always got to like that. But see, but who's in the best situation and who's the best quarterback are two different things. I'm not sold on JJ. I know my man Ultra's very high on him. I'm not. I'm not high on Caleb Williams. I'm really not high on a lot of these quarterbacks. The quarterback that I liked the most was Penix, believe it or not. I liked him. I think Drake May in time. I think he's got some skill set where if he's in a right situation, it's going to be interesting because they got a new coach, right? They got a new coach. They're kind of rebuilding stuff in New England. And what happens with a lot of these quarterbacks, and I was going to say that with Drake May, if they get in a situation where they get their ass kicked a lot, and they start really having some flashbacks and some happy feet and some this and that, it can end up destroying a young quarterback's career. Right. So that's what you got to really look at. It's the situation they're in. Like sometimes it's not the best quarterback that becomes the best player. It's what situation they're in.
It's the fit. Right.
Yeah.
It's the offense they're in. It's the players they have around them. And you're right. I mean, look, Carolina, you don't know what you're going to get. And you kill these guys' confidence, man. And you see it all too often, right? Especially that quarterback spot. That's a quarterback is a pitcher in baseball. It's a goaltender in hockey. That's your pivotal position. And you get a younger guy like that, and you screw him up. You screw him up long term, right? Yeah. And then eventually they need to change the scenery, like Geno Smith or whatever else, right?
Yeah. Now and Drake, man, with JJ Bugsy, it's hey man, I'm no scout. I'm a fan. So it's just what my eyes see, just kind of the gut feel. I've talked to a few college quarterbacks that have become friends with, and they said JJ's he's a GM killer, whoever drafts him. So I'm just going by what some people that played the quarterback position said. But like I said, I'm a fan. I mean, they didn't throw the ball, I think, the whole second half in the Penn State game. I think he had like 50 yards at one point in the national championship game. I'm not saying that makes him a bad quarterback. Me personally, didn't see enough. I know he wowed some people at the combine, but I mean, Jeff George did, Ryan Leaf did, Mike Tagula did, and how did that work out for all of them? Mike Tagula, obviously a defensive guy in Philly. I throw that in there because those idiots took him over Warren Sapp. So I just wanted to throw that in there one time for him. But that's just my feeling. If you're a Michigan fan, then you probably think he's going to be great. So no hate on there. No hate. And I don't hate the Wolverine. Oh, come on. I love I wanted Miami to go to the Big Ten. I wish Miami would go to the Big Ten because I thought people forget Michigan and Miami had some good games back in the day. Miami, obviously, Ohio State. Miami, Penn State, there was some really Miami, even Michigan State, some years here and there. I like the Big Ten football. I wish Miami would go there. So
we have Mikey saying the Patriots drafted good though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so NFC North, but and Ultra always finds a way to go after Dak Prescott.
Help me out. Someone remind me, did Dak Prescott beat Alabama when he was at Mississippi? Shitty ass Mississippi State. Didn't he have them ranked like top 3 at one point when it was him and nobody else? And I thought he beat Alabama. I thought so. I could be wrong. I thought it was Alabama. Yeah, whatever it was. So I don't know. We're talking college. I thought he did. I thought he had a great college career. So yeah, he might have a man crush on Dak. Usually, hey, you know how it is in school. Remember when they used to say, and the girls, they used to, if they were mean to the boys, that usually meant they liked them.
They really liked them, yeah.
And maybe that's the case. You never know.
He could be in denial. Absolutely, I agree with you on that. That's
you never know. And I don't care either way, man.
Falcon with a great point. I love it.
But no, it's going to be. I tell you what, it is. You could see that generational change. You know how every so often you get that where you get a influx of quarterbacks coming in and just kind of changing the guard. That's what I'm looking for. Changing of the guard. I mean, you could really get that. You could argue if Dallas were to move on from Dak, which I don't know if they will. I mean, you'd have Trey Lance, and I mean, you could have just an influx of some young quarterbacks going in there after a couple years. So it's going to be interesting to see. And you're seeing the thing I'll say with these quarterbacks is they're so much more ready than those days, right? When we grew up, where a quarterback would sit usually for years,
right? They held the clipboard for a couple of years. He had them ranked number one. Number one. That means they're the best.
Hey. Having a let's talk not Michigan, not a loaded Michigan team that had 15 freaking guys. Half their goddamn team was drafted in the NFL. You're talking about Mississippi State. It was Dak Prescott and nobody else in the SEC, not the Big Ten, the SEC. So a little bit different as the situation, but I take nothing away from JJ. Ken Dorsey was a national champion. Ken Dorsey was 35-2. Ken Dorsey probably was the greatest Miami Hurricane quarterback in college history for them. He didn't do shit in the NFL. I mean,
and not for
just because you won a national championship with a loaded football team doesn't make you an all-world a quarterback. So,
and not for nothing. You're talking about people in good spots. Let's say, and knock on wood, it doesn't happen. Let's say Cousins goes down. All right. You put Penix in a situation.
Sorry, hold on. Ultra, you're comparing JJ, who's never played an NFL game, saying he won't choke. So I went to Dak's college career. That's what I did. God, he drives me
trying
nuts.
to compare apples with apples here.
But you drive, I'm comparing the same situation. You drive me nuts. But go ahead, Jimmy.
No, it's okay. I mean, but again, now if let's say remove Kirk Cousins from the picture here, let's say Penix starting. I mean, you got Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, right? You got Pitts, you got London, you got Mooney, we have weapons surrounding this guy. So, again, if Cousins goes down, which I hope doesn't happen, because I want him to be the mentor for a season or two, he's in a good spot. Right?
Yeah, and I think Penix is a little bit older. Someone can correct me.
He is
average, right? He's a little bit. So he's more mature. He's from Tampa. You know that he's from Tampa.
Really?
High school in Tampa.
Sounds like a good guy.
No, I mean, you got to pull for the guy. He's from this town, so you definitely want success. And he seems like just a good dude.
He is. I listened to the press conference on Friday, and he was a family man, an upstanding citizen of the community, and everything with him was about, he was saying all the right things, and you can tell there's sincerity involved. He was, look, I'm going to do what I got to do for the team. I had a great talk with Mr. Cousins is what he said. I had a great talk with Mr. Cousins. From a family, talk about faith. And, it was just a really good, guy like that. And you could tell there's a maturity factor there. I think he's like 24 years old, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Okay. Somebody beat me to it.
24.
German.
I mean, do your homework. You're doing your homework. So just to change gears a little bit, because I always like outside. This is why Jimmy and I love doing the show together, because I can bounce stuff off him, and he unbiased, straight down the middle, calls it fair. So the other news, which is interesting because it got a lot of run, but I think it's getting a little bit overblown, but I'm representing anyway because it just having some fun with it. But Zeke is back in Dallas. So he had a 1-year hiatus. He went to New England. He did all right. I mean, he was the backup. What you would think, he's kind of at that point in his career. He's not going to be the 20-plus carry guy anymore. But he had some success in New England on a bad football team. Yeah. He had some success in New England. What is your reaction when you see Zeke back in Dallas? Is it just kind of, is it Jerry being Jerry to say, hey, let's bring Zeke back. It'll give a little fanfare, make people happy. Or do you think there's actually opportunity for him to make a difference on the team?
No, he can make a difference. I mean, he was always getting you guys, those short yards, those grinding yards. I mean, that's what you need inside the 5. You need that 3rd and 2. That is the man you want. And honestly, right now, he's your RB1.
That's what I don't like to hear. I'm going to be honest with you.
I know you don't.
That's what troubles me.
I know you don't.
Yeah. I like everything you said up until that, because I was the one. I said that the problem the Cowboys had last year is the running game, and the running game worried me, and the running game was going to bite him in the ass. And the minute the offense struggles passing, you might as well hang it up, because we can't run the football. We couldn't run consistently. So I think the Cowboys did a good job with the offensive line. Now I'll be on record. I was one of the guys that I wasn't as worried about our offensive line as others, but they went ahead and got some nasty guys, which we can get into. But I think getting Zeke, I know Kimmy loves Zeke. I mean, that was probably one of the best videos I've ever seen by Cuts' daughter.
Yeah.
And, definitely, I think he's going to make a difference to what we have now. That's the part that still, if I'm being honest, it worries me. Jimmy. I don't want to put all my hopes in him being that RB1 that's going to take us to the promised land. So that's the part to get. But I think he definitely, to your point, he can play an important role on this team.
So what do you do now? That's the thing. He is your RB1, right? And I said, great signing. I don't think it's Jerry being stupid. I think, great signing. But
I think, yeah.
What are you doing for your RB1? You guys, you dropped the ball in free agency.
I stutter step too. I've got the list. So here's what we got. We got Rico, we got Lipke, we got Deuce Vaughn, we got Malik, we got Snoop, not Snoop Dogg, Snoop Connor, and then we got Royce Freeman. So not the stable of running backs that would make you do backflips and jump in the pool, but I think what the Cowboys can do, and I think I might have saw it somewhere in the chat. I was thinking Miami is going to have to get rid of a running back. They got a stable of running backs. The Jets have a bunch of running backs. Houston could part ways with a running back. So I think Dallas's other running back is not even on this roster. I think you could have a couple things. You can have their stubbornness and say we're going to do running back by committee, and then almost have a situation that they were in a few years ago where they did that with their receiving core, and then they figured out that shit ain't working, and they went ahead and traded for Amari Cooper. They could do that at running game and see kind of where it goes, and then trade for one later, which that's what I don't want. No. Or they can try and see if maybe one of these teams they're gonna have to offload a running back. I mean, they're not gonna keep that many running backs on their roster, some of these teams that drafted a running back. So they picked up a kid, Nathaniel Pete. I know nothing about him, except that he runs a 4.38 40. Sounds good, but he only ran for like 300 yards. So it wasn't like he was an undrafted free agent. So that's why I say when you get to that point, I mean, there's not a lot of hope there, but I'm concerned with our running game. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Zeke's role is going to be perfect. I think he's fine. I don't know if another guy on here is going to step up. Or what? Is anyone in the chat think I'm crazy? Does anyone love our running game?
No, but everybody's running back by committee. Nobody wants it. And look at so the Jets had Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook. Remember last year? Oh man, the Jets got Dalvin Cook. Yeah. I mean, look, he can be an RB1. He was.
I don't think he's I don't want him. Like, to me, you already got Freeman, you already got Zeke. I don't want you kind of committed to that, what I would call that later stage guy that's got some tread on the tires. I think to the point now, I think they're going to have to either make a move for kind of that second, that tier below those guys as far as age and as far as less wear and tear. Maybe a kid, maybe Mozart, maybe Jeff Wilson, maybe one of those kids from
Mozart. Yeah.
Maybe the Jets got like 4 running backs in there. Maybe one of them kind of slipped through the cracks. So that's what I'd like to see. But I think we got the offensive line. And I think what they did with their offensive line and really with the draft, they got nasty. Like Tyler Guyton. He has violent tendencies, he said. He's on this field. He's violent. Not off the field, but on the field. Breece Hall would be one if they were gonna maybe put him up, because they did draft another running back. Then you got Cooper Beebe, nasty guy, just nasty. And you saw what he did against who was the big team they played? Texas, and their big defensive tackles. He kind of manhandled them instead of them doing it to him. So the Cowboys got nasty in this draft. That's how I'll give them. Did they address all their needs? Not so much. Defensive tackle, they got one late. They picked an undrafted free agent. So I'm still run the ball, stop the run is what I wanted to get out of the draft. Okay, we got some linemen. We might be able to run the ball, but we didn't get a running back. We didn't really get defensive tackles, but we got a couple linebackers. I think I'm going to mess up his name, but is it Leifau? The dude from Notre Dame with the hair. He just reminds me of Palomalu, maybe the hair, but he hits people with some authority, and that's what I really like to see.
Would you just watch the hair? He works on his hair all day, and they hit his hair. And you see, then you take a team like us, and we're the complete opposite. I mean, we have 2 starting running backs. Obviously, Bijan being the better, but Tyler Algier. I mean, remember, everybody kind of looked at us last year when we drafted Bijan. So wait a minute, you got an RB1, but we took the best guy at the time, right? And it worked out pretty damn well. I mean, with the quarterback, shit quarterback situation we had last season, we had no business even being in contention by the end of the season.
Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely. I mean, and you're going to get, you get these unsung running backs that just come out of nowhere. And to some of the points are making in there, I think Ultra, I see it in there, and a few other guys. The offensive line, if these guys hit, if you're talking about Guyton, which I know, he played right tackle, but Tyron Smith, he made the move to left tackle. I'm not trying to compare him. Don't go yelling at me. But I'm just saying they've done it. And I got to believe the Cowboys did their due diligence. The one thing I'll never question the Cowboys on is drafting a offensive lineman in the first round. They're batting 1,000. I mean, they're batting 1,000. And they're batting 1,000 with 2 Hall of Famers. One guy who ended his career short, but he was an all-pro Pro Bowler. Ended short because of some health issues. And then you got Tyler Smith, he could get a gold jacket. He's 2 years in, but he's been a Pro Bowler and an All-Pro. That's pretty damn good for your first 2 years. So they've done a good job evaluating the offensive line, especially in the first round. So I think, I got a lot of confidence in this, and I think they got some. Remember what I said after the ass beating we got from the Packers? This team needs identity of toughness. They need some dogs. They need some guys that want to hurt people. When I look at up and down this draft, that's what I see. I see guys that physical, hard-nosed. Now, hopefully, when they come to Dallas, they don't get civilized, right? That's
the worst thing that can happen to a football player.
Dallas and the glam and the beautiful training facilities can civilize you real quick. I need these guys to be like Clubber Lang. I need them to stay hungry. I need them to get, maybe go back to the old gym, get some blood.
That's right.
And all that. So that's what I need to see from this team. But I can't complain on the draft. I'm happy to have Zeke back. People know. I mean, my daughter's a big Zeke fan. I'm a Zeke fan. My daughter's boyfriend's a Zeke fan. I've had the pleasure of meeting and becoming friends with Zeke's mom through all the social media and stuff like that. But I've met her at a few games. Even met her at the New England game. I told her I don't want to see no New England 15 jerseys floating around. Having fun with. But so I'm happy, and I think he can play a role: pass protection, short yardage, and goal line inside the 5. I think you hit the nail on the head on all 3 points.
And it's funny. We always talk about each week. We all hate the Eagles. We all share that common hate. But again, they signed an offensive lineman this past week, former first rounder. Name escapes me. But again, they didn't even need anybody. It was a tackle, I think.
Yeah, the one guy from the Jets.
Yeah, that's right, from the Jets. They didn't even need him. But again, despite what we feel about them, they're always signing. They're always making moves, and you can't fault them for that. That's not a bad thing.
Well, they got they signed their other AJ Brown, signed him over the weekend.
Yeah,
they signed
big money.
Obviously Devontae Smith. They signed him. Their draft. I mean, they had the cornerback fall right to him, which arguably was the best cornerback in the draft. Arguably, I mean, you got to see how these guys kind of, most of these guys don't make it. And it's unfortunate, but that's just the nature of the business.
Sure.
So, but you can't hate on them. So, I mean, Philadelphia definitely improved themselves, but how do they sign all their people and we can't?
You know what? It's crazy. They are always doing what they have to do. But, it gets back to one thing, and we talked about it. Jalen Hurts, you can say what you want. People say, oh, he's great. He's not. What does he want? What playoff games has he won?
I pissed some people off, Jimmy. The playoff game. You want to hear his playoff career?
Yeah, yes.
We'll break it down. And again, I'm not dogging him. I like him as a person, but people that just want to shit on these other quarterbacks, let's be real. Can we keep it real? Let's just keep it real. His first playoff game was against Tom Brady. They got I think they scored a late garbage touchdown. They should have been shut out. They might have been shut out. My memory escapes me. So got their ass whooped there. The next year, right? They beat the Giants' Daniel Jones. All right, let's just call it for what it is. They beat a running back playing quarterback. That's what they. Right. The stars aligned for them, and I'm not hating them for it. So go say you're hating. I'm not hating them for it. You play the guys in front of you, right? You play the team. Those are his 2 signature playoff wins. Loses against Mahomes in the Super Bowl, nothing to be ashamed of. Goes down to Tampa again against Baker Mayfield and gets slaughtered. Slaughtered, Jimmy.
That's right.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's his playoff resume. So, I mean, I know people want to shit on Dak, and you talk about it's a team game, right? But if we're going to hate on Dak and blame it all on him, then blame it all on Hurts as well. I don't think so. I think Hurts was dealing with a lot of other issues, especially last season with the coaching staff and everything that went with it. And it's the same, I would say, for Dak is he gets his share of the blame. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of blame that can go around, especially that Packer loss. There ain't one person responsible for that one. It starts at the tippy top, and it goes down to that 53rd man. And everyone is accountable because that was unacceptable and it was an embarrassment. So, but I'm not going to put that all on Dak Prescott. I'm not doing it.
No. But at the end of the day, though, again, I'm sorry. It ain't hate. It's facts.
Yeah.
Tell the truth.
No.
And the truth hurts.
No, but I mean, it's just like Dan Marino. I'm not going to sit there and call Dan Marino a shitty quarterback because he didn't win a Super Bowl. I mean, he had no running game.
Zero. Never.
He had the Marx brothers for a little while, but then they were kind of moving receivers in and out. It's like he had all these all-world guys. I mean, he had any Hall of Famers did he have on his offense?
I don't think so.
Except for Richmond Webb.
Richmond Webb, yeah, that's it.
Right? That's it.
Right.
I mean, did he have any Hall of Famers on defense?
Who did he he had Troy running backs, Troy Stratford,
Mark Higgs,
Sammy Smith,
Lorenzo Hampton. Sammy Smith.
Yeah.
I remember this because I was playing Tecmo Bowl, so I got some of the names there.
Tecmo.
And then I was getting,
What?
but was he there for No, Cecil Cooper was someone else. That was maybe Pennington. Might have been Cecil the Diesel.
Pennington. Damn.
Marino had, but he had
Parmalee, Keith Byers.
Yeah, Keith Byers. Yeah, thank you. So again, a lot of these quarterbacks, and hey, Dak has had opportunity. This team. That's why I say I'm not going to blame Jerry as a GM for the talent, because these teams have been talented enough to win the Super Bowl, but they're either not mentally tough enough. I mean, when you listen to Michael Irvin, you listen to Emmitt Smith, you listen to Troy Aikman, you listen to even Mahomes. I mean, I forget just being Cowboys. You listen to Brady. Like I think Kelly played like a clip that Brady talked about. When you listen to those guys, they sound different. I mean, they do. Than a lot of the Cowboys. They just, they don't sound, that eye of the tiger, man. I hate to always use Rocky, but
the edge.
They don't have that edge. They don't have that. And I could be dead wrong, but I'm just saying, you get that feeling. It's just like, and I know Tank was either covering up for something. I can't believe he really thought what he said, but when he said, hey, it's a long season, we're tired. Just, man, Michael Irvin ain't never going to say something like that.
Yeah, but you know what? When you hear those other guys talk, even though they're not saying it, that's what you hear coming out of them. Like,
no,
right?
and it's leadership, right?
It's leadership. It's confidence. They sound like winners.
Yeah, you got them talking like they're winners. Remember that prank call?
Yes, that's right. That's exactly what I thought of. Okay, Ultra. We're talking football right now, but the Knicks. Are
they getting blown out already? Do we have an update?
There's plenty of game left, and Mike knows I'm going to scope that out in about 20-25
Oh,
minutes.
it's 26-17.
Come on, it's basketball. Thank you. I appreciate it. Look at Hurts cost his team the Super, and fumble.
Fumbled.
That's right.
I don't even think he got hit when he fumbled. Didn't he just drop the ball?
Yeah, he stutter stepped. He dropped the ball, and he's probably going to make that same mistake again.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of, did you see? I watched a couple things. I watched Sensational Sherry, Dark Side of the Ring. I don't know if you ever watched that.
I love that show. I haven't seen the one from Sensational.
Very disturbing. Very disturbing. And then I watched the WWE when they go looking for memorabilia, and they wanted the NWO era, and they went to Hogan, and they did the Nash, and they did Scott Hall. That was pretty damn. That was pretty. Brought back some good memories. They had the Steiner brothers and all of that kind of stuff. I watched that again. Maybe you and I might have talked about it. I don't know.
You know what it is? It's funny because on Sundays you get caught up and they get Dark Side of the Ring on Vice. You got A&E's running WWE Rivals, and they obviously put in the WCW guys. And I get all caught. The best part is I'm watching it. My wife gets caught up in it because it turns into like you hear all the bad stuff that's happened. It's almost like a soap opera. But
it's the story's the same. The story is the same for all of these, and it's crazy.
Sorry.
So was that what hot potato?
We call hot potato.
That's why sometimes you got to put things in perspective, and I'm not saying like Dak Prescott embarrassment and that embarrassment against the Packers, the Cowboys losing that game. But I mean, San Francisco, I mean, they were the better team in one of the games. I thought we were the better team in the other game. Those are two games that maybe should have split, right? The Rams were the better team. Our defense couldn't stop the run. We weren't winning that game. He actually played good. I mean, Dak's played shitty in like two of the 6 games or 7 games, whatever games he's had. He's actually played well in even some of the losses. So again, it's perception, but the quarterback is more the blame than they probably deserve, and they definitely get more the credit than they probably deserve. That's the nature of the position. So it goes without saying. It's just like I said, hey, Romo had a great career, I thought, with the Cowboys. He's not a Hall of Famer. He's not a Hall of Famer because of the playoff lack of success. That's why he's not a Hall of Famer. If he would have had a decent playoff run, went to a couple, he didn't even get to a Super Bowl, had a couple NFC championship games or got to a Super Bowl and lost, and he had his numbers, he would be a Hall of Famer, but you can't put him in the Hall of Fame. But that's why Eli Manning, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but those two Super Bowl wins, even though he wasn't like the man in those games, those are defense, he's probably going to get in the Hall of Fame.
He won. Look at Cuts. Look at Cuts getting all philosophical on us. Success is usually the culmination of controlling failure.
Nice rhyme.
That's like it's right. I thought it was some Socrates or Ice Cube, one of the two. Hey, did you see? And hopefully this is true. Goodell comes out last week or over the weekend and said they're considering, because of the obviously the longer schedule now, pushing out the Super Bowl to was it President's Day weekend?
Yeah.
That means a lot of people have the next day off. Not
Yes.
everybody, but a lot of 9-to-5ers have the next day off. So, a lot of people's dreams will come true if that happens. Same weekend as Daytona 500. I'm not big into NASCAR, but I know that's the big weekend for that. So that would end up being a huge sports weekend. And honestly, that would be a smart move.
No, I think it'd be a great move. It's going to drag out the season. I mean, you're dragging out the season, right? They're talking 8. They're going to talk 2 bye weeks. I think they talked about, which they did. Remember back in the 90s, or was it 2000? They did that, and I like that.
They did too. Yes,
I didn't have an issue with that. You had 2 bye weeks, 1 preseason game. So they're gonna move that around a little bit, and then extend out, drag out the playoffs a little more. I don't have a big issue with that. I think it would be great, because it is frustrating as a fan of just football. Is you're at a Super Bowl party, and this is primarily the East Coast guys, right? I know we've got some people that live out on the West Coast, and you're like, what are you guys bitching about? It's hard for us. Right. A damn game. There's so many commercials. It don't end till midnight, and you got to get up to work the next day. So, and you're partying all day. I mean, it's an all-day event. So I think it's one of the good moves that Goodell has done, and I think he's terrible, but it's one of the good moves that are ideas that he has. But like I said, I think the stupidest move, and it really doesn't affect us, probably helps us more than hurts us, is you're making Green Bay and Philadelphia open up in South America. Was it Brazil?
Yeah. The thing is, especially with these international games for some of these teams, I think that extra bye week is not a bad thing. I think it's a smart business decision, because think about it. So your training camps begin in July, and then the season goes through basically the end of February. And then before you know it, it's the draft a month and a half later, right? And then they're announcing the schedule. And basically you're almost making into it, stretching that out makes it almost feel year round.
Yeah, right? No, and look what they've done. Now you got the schedule release, which we're going to do a live kind of schedule release party, talk about some games and stuff. So we'll have that coming up in the cave. That's sometime in May. So this month they'll have the schedule release on Thursday. They've turned every event into a spectacle. I'll say this, the draft. I don't like the draft. I don't like the way that I used to love the draft on Saturday, Sunday. Call me old, but it was 12 p.m. to 9, and then it was 12, and it was an all-day event. And now they got everyone and their brother going up doing a pick, and they got everyone's got some social platform they're on, or they got some cause that they're promoting or whatever it is. It's like, I just want the damn pick. I know I'm being insensitive, so I apologize. But why didn't they invite me to give a pick? I'm seeing these other jabronis out there getting on that stage. Why didn't they invite me to go out and give a pick?
Throw my friend Mike Tag a bone.
Can't even throw a crumb to their old pal Mike Tag.
They give him some
guys.
Lousy stinging X-Lax watch. No, you know what? It is funny. You're right. We had for I think it was the second pick. It was the guy who runs Atlanta Falcons Germany, which I'm in touch with him on social media on Instagram and Twitter.
Well, we gotta get him in the cave.
We were gonna have to do that. I'm gonna talk to him about getting him on here, and because we are international, or as Cut said, we're worldwide.
Germany. I'll have my man Frankie from Germany. We'll have a little debate. On who's the bigger fan base in Germany, Atlanta or Dallas. So we can handle that. We might have to. Sacrifice some of the time, because I think there's a big time change. You might have to either have the show earlier or later,
Well,
whatever.
it would have to be earlier, right? Because it's 6 hours, I
Yeah.
think.
Oh, they just stay up late. What's the matter with them? They can do that.
Exactly.
Where's their
Exactly.
loyalties?
It'd be
Frankie
great.
has been on the show sometimes. I've seen him. I've seen him sneaking in here live sometimes. So we could do that, or we've got so many. Who's my other guy? God, I can't. I'm having a brain. He's in Germany too. Met him at the New England game.
Yeah, I know that.
Face, but anyway, we got a lot of international love in Dallas.
Man, Ultra and Falcon, you guys got to play nice. They're starting to get
As long as there's
angry with one another.
As long as there's no profanity, because this is a family friendly show. I don't want no profanity, but you guys can have it out. The thing I'll always say is with Dak Prescott, you either have to 100% hate him, or you're like a fanboy, or you're a Dak lover or something like that. You can't, God forbid that you say the defense, like you can't, oh, you're a fanboy of Dak. And it's, the defense gave up a lot of points against the Packers. And there's been games. It's like I said, the problem I've always had with the Cowboys is all the pressure is always on the offense. If the offense doesn't play well from the start, they get their ass whooped. And you go ahead and roll the tape. And there's examples of it left and right. They're a team on emotion. They're a team on momentum. And the defense is that way. And that's where I blame Quinn. And I think you're going to see a big difference with Mike Zimmer calling that game. Mike Zimmer is going to be on the sideline. He's not going to be up on a booth with his hat backwards, with pencils in his ear. He's going to be on the sideline. If you don't like what he's seeing and the emotions ain't there, he's going to get in someone's face. And he's done it. We had George Teague in. George Teague, we talked about the differences you're going to see. He played for Mike Zimmer. He went up and actually sat in a lot of meetings with him when he was in Philadelphia, just kind of seeing him coach and seeing him prepare and all that kind of stuff. That's the difference that you're going to see. I don't think you're going to see that this year. Now, maybe I'll be dead wrong, but Zimmer is not going to tolerate the bullshit. And that's what it was sometimes. You see these guys with lost look and defeated attitude. He ain't about that. I mean, he's a motivator. He is going to be in it. So I mean, that's my feeling on it. We'll see what happens, but he's going to get these guys. He's going to coach them up. But I think, don't you, Jimmy, what do you think of that defensive court? Don't you think defensive coordinators need to be on the sideline?
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, and this is taking a step back. You talk about culture, right? The culture, you got to have the culture, the winning culture, and everybody's all in. And like you said, you don't want people partying the night before a game saying, "Oh, we're it was a Green Bay Packers, whatever it was, a playoff win party." One of your guys, that it starts there, right? Then you move up to the coaches in practice and in-game situations, right? If somebody needs, to get talked off the ledge, if they need some motivation, you want them face to face on the sideline, and I agree with you on that, right? Yeah. And unfortunately, but unfortunately nowadays you get a lot of guys. They feel like they're getting shown out if the coach steps to them on the sideline. But that's part of the deal, man. I think it's the right thing, and I agree with you on that.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I learned a lesson Saturday. You asked what I did. If I left out something, I went to my son. He's in a flag football league. So they play in it. It's not even an organized. It's an unorganized, organized league. Okay. So every kid put $25 in. Put $25 in the till. They got, I think, 6 teams, maybe 4 to 16, whatever it is. And they play on Saturday. The kids are the refs. They got these other kids that are the refs. Big mistake number one, when you're dealing with money, you don't have kids making the decisions. I went to the game and I saw it firsthand. And then you have parents of the team that organized this league hanging out on the sideline. That's problem number 2. Parents have no business. This lady called one of the kids on my son's team an asshole. And I went to the game. I'm watching. I said, you know what? I'm going to watch my son. I stayed in a distance. I knew a lot of the kids on his team. My son grew up with them. I coached some of these kids, playing baseball or whatever. So I was excited to see them. And I wanted it. Yeah. Hey, like I told my kids, you don't even think I'm here. If you got to talk shit, talk shit. Pretend I'm just a fly on the wall. I love watching. And what I was pleasantly surprised with, because so many times people say the youth, they're soft. They're not competitive. They're not this. They're not that. There was a kid on my son's team. I never met him, didn't know him.
Yeah.
He was one of the smallest kids on the team. And this dude ran his mouth the whole time. He's the one the lady called him an asshole. He ran his mouth and he was talking shit and he was doing this and he was doing that and he was competitive. And he even said, he goes, don't get mad at me. He goes, I'm a competitive person. I don't mean but I'm competitive. And his team was competitive. The other team was competitive. So it made me feel good that there's some kids in here with some fire. So I guess where I'm trying to get to in my long-winded story is with Zimmer, and you'd said some of these guys don't want to be talked to that way. I think if you're competitive, you want to be pushed. If you're competitive, you want to be driven. If a coach getting in your face is going to get you all upset and make you hurt your feelings, then you shouldn't. I don't want you on my team. How's that?
I agree.
Football is a game of emotions. That's why I don't like personal fouls. I don't like taunting penalties. I think that's all bullshit. It's a game of emotions. If a guy makes a big play and he's pumped up and he's excited, he's going to show some emotion. That's it. Football is a violent sport. I know people don't like, they're trying to soften it up, and we want it safe. We don't want to see anyone get hurt. But football is a violent sport, and it's a game. You have to play with an edge. You have to play with emotion, and that's what So I was pleasantly surprised when I went to that game. It's a lot of fun. And the final point is they got cheated because the parents. This kid was 10 feet out of bounds on the other side of the field. The referee called him out. The parents pulled out the camera. It was 50, 60 feet away, and they changed the call. They lost the game by 1 point.
Oh, so they have instant.
That's why you don't have kids. When you got money involved, there's no way.
They have instant replay in that league. Like, I don't know if I can put that comment up, but I kind of agree with.
No, I agree with that. I love league. I agree with that. That's a fair.
I heard when they did the replay, his cat. I heard when they did the replay, they heard the parents saying, "Pardon my French, but you're an asshole."
That's what they said. That's what they said. I mean, it's crazy. But it's you're in a competition. I loved it. I said, when's the next game? I want to be there. Each other was great. I love
that's old school. It's like when we played. And again, that's the problem. Look, let's say even the players with one another, you hype each other up. If shit's going wrong, hey, come on, you pick them up, you lift them up. But that involves getting loud, maybe getting crazy, saying some things you shouldn't be saying on a podcast like this, right? And that's just part of the deal. And it's no different with the defensive coordinator or whoever else. And yes, I agree with you. And that's necessary. It is an emotional game. And you know what? Maybe the flag football game this past Saturday is more physical than the NFL.
It was a good game. The best was there's this they got this one kid. I won't use any names because they're kids, but he's a big kid, great kid.
Yeah,
he's real short. He's not tall, but he's a lineman, right? He's built like that. I even put a video. So if you watch the video, because everyone said we need to get that guy at nose tackle. He's an Eagle fan. That's the only thing wrong with him. But he gets the ball, and he ain't waiting for the flag to be. He's bowling people over. Like he just running. It's like he's not running around anyone. And then they had another dude hit him, and it made me think of one of our buddies because the guy kind of gave a little shoulder. It kind of knocked one of our guys down, and he's like, "Oh, we're playing by those rules." Wait till I get the ball. I'm trucking, and then it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. I love it, man. It was fun.
So that's a good story. That's a story we got to tell while we're at it.
Yeah.
So our buddy who will remain nameless, but we're still friends. When we were playing backyard football, we were playing tackle football. It wasn't flag football. It was tackle football outside of Tag's house, and it was like in this apartment complex. They had this nice little lake, in the middle. So we're playing by the lake, and it's all nice, a nice day out. And one of our buddies drills him, and he ends up into the lake.
Not only drilled him, no. Let's say he was running, and he came at an angle and dove. So they both went in the lake, but he
That's right.
got a clothesline, like hit them high, and they both ended up in the lake. And so he had a famous word after that.
So right, yeah, exactly. Playing by those rules.
Playing by those rules. That's how. And it was, your kids, man. It was 2-on-2, right? It was just 2-on-2.
Yes.
But it was.
Thank you,
now Jack's winning. Where's Ultra now?
Yeah, exactly. Ultra is hiding behind the keyboard.
So,
but again, it is nice to see that we have some hope for the youth of today.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And but I know you want to watch your Knicks. We're getting up to it. But hey, just real quick again, we do have our live show on Thursday, and I believe we got a very, very special guest coming into the cave. We got Rome from Cowboys Fan Talk. You guys know him, one of the great Cowboys content creators, one of the great Cowboy fans. Had the opportunity to meet him at the Carolina game, had the opportunity to hang out with him at the Cowboys game. So just a great dude, and does excellent work and great content on his channel. So I believe he's going to be hanging with Kelly and I live on Thursday. So make sure you guys check it out. More importantly, like what I said before, and I see we got a lot of people on X watching, and definitely appreciate it. The best way you can support the channel is sliding over to YouTube, watching on YouTube, but more importantly, hitting that subscribe, hitting that like and share. I ran the numbers, we could see it, over 38,000 people were first-time viewers over the last 90 days. So we should be getting a hell of a lot more subscribers the way I look at it. So I know we get a lot of people watching, and definitely appreciate all the support, but definitely, do that if you could to your brother. It helps us out. It doesn't cost you anything. Just hit that subscribe, hit the like, hit the share. But I just saw we got a super chat. What's that, Jimmy? What do we got for Mark? And your package is in the mail, so be looking for it. I shipped it out Monday. I'm sorry, I was a little late. I was out of town, so I got a little gift for you, Mark, that got shipped out. Go ahead, Jimmy.
I know. So, Mark, would have stayed put and gotten Barton, Beebe, and right, moved Tyler to left tackle. The linebacker was a lame pick. Back up, JJ goes quantity over quality. Dak needs a running back.
Oh, man. Well, that's a lot to digest, and we went through it, but you're Mark, so I'm going to take a minute to address that. I got to read it all again.
Yes.
Yeah, I think getting BB. Now think about it. They moved down and got Guyton, who I think is going to be a really good left tackle. You got a combo with that with BB. So now you basically got yourself a tackle and a guard, two nasty dudes for moving down. So I'm going to do that all day, every day. So we'll respectfully disagree. Linebacker, I don't know enough about him. So I don't want to trash him, or I don't want to blow smoke up it, but he just looks like a baller, and he looks like he hits with some bad intentions. So maybe it's the hair that's got me mesmerized. But I don't know. There's something about him. I'm excited with that pick. Not getting a running back, I can't agree with you more. I don't know why. Maybe they just weren't enthralled with it with the running backs there. But when I saw Wright falling, I'm thinking, God, maybe package a couple of our sevens to see if you can get up with your fifth, or try and trade a next year's. Do something to try and get up there. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. We don't know. But it seemed like they just weren't enthralled with the running back, so they just didn't feel the need. So I think hopefully it doesn't come back to bite them in the ass. But I think I covered it all.
No, and Mark, thanks for the super chat, man. We really appreciate it.
We definitely does.
And Ultra and Falcon, I know you guys are having fun, but you're going a little too far. Be nice to one another. We're all on the same team here.
I don't know if Ultra's on the same team, but we'll see.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with respectfully disagreeing. I think Ultra brings a lot of great points. I think Falcon brings a lot of great points. I've talked to Uncle Cheech. I actually hung out with Uncle Cheech. You're not going to recognize Uncle Cheech next time you see him. He looks different.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
maybe it's an off-season look. We might get him on here. We might be able to get. We're going to get it. Here's what we're going to do. This is my promise. Uncle Cheech is coming on to give his prediction for the Mike Tyson fight. We're going to have Uncle Cheech in. We'll have Uncle Cheech in. He'll be on that Monday, and he'll be on the following Monday for the reaction to the Mike Tyson fight. So we'll see what happens there. So
Now, you know
that?
what? Uncle Cheech, maybe he's changed his look because he has to avoid certain people. He needs to stay under the radar a little bit. I don't want to know nothing.
I'm not getting involved in that. I don't know if it's a coffee cake situation. I don't want to be. I don't want to be. The other thing is nice to see you guys make us late. Jimmy's going to miss his game. I mean, I think I don't know if it's rigged. He's 58 years old, 57 years old.
He looks
People
good.
are underestimating Paul. Paul is a professional fighter as well, and he's 31 years younger. Now, I think about me, and I'm not a trained athlete like Tyson is, but I'm also 10 years younger than him. I go for a walk around the block. I'm getting a little winded here. So I'm talking on the show. I don't know the stamina. Now, the one thing they made it 8 2-minute rounds. I think that advantage goes to Tyson there.
Yes.
The only way Jake Paul wins is Tyson running out of gas. So Jake Paul's got to weather the storm early. I think Tyson's going to go out in a flurry in the beginning. And can he weather the storm? Mike Tyson still has some knockout power. You saw what he did in Hangover. He still got it. Got it. But Jake Paul is a heavy hitter too. If Jake Paul hits him, like I said, man, he's 31 years younger. That's just, yeah.
You know what Jake Paul's got to do? He's got to make faces, move around the ring.
Hey, Mary, hey, how's this? Does that hurt a little bit? Is that too hard?
Oh gosh.
But anyway, yeah.
No, thanks everybody for coming out. I got to go catch the game. I'm sorry, I gotta jump out here, but got to go see my Knicks take over, take care of our business, take care of Philly, and make everybody happy.
Yeah. No. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. A lot of fun in the chat. Love a little banter every now and then. We like it. So no worries. See you on live on Thursday. Maybe we'll be popping in on some other stuff. So that's why it's important. Hit that subscribe, but also hit that alert bell. That way, anytime we drop a video, you guys are alerted. You stay in the know. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate it, Jimmy. Always good, my brother. Good luck to the Knicks.
They're
my favorite team since my Heat are getting their ass whooped, and they'll be exiting very soon. So you guys take care. We'll see you.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry.